a conservative calendar and a Lynyrd Skynyrd concert. So if you've been on Twitter for the past week, which hopefully, or well, I suppose right-wing Twitter, hopefully you've not been, because that can be a black pit, and that abyss will look back at you faster than anything. There's been a debate going on between, well, those who, let's just say, have Coomer eyes and were in a calendar that is supposedly conservative, where the only thing that was conservative about it was money and perhaps somebody holding an American flag. And I completely disagree with this calendar 100%. I think the only use for it, much like any other pinup calendar, whether that be Playboy or Sports Illustrated, any swimsuit model, whatever it might be, it is simply there to induce lust. So to me, you look at this calendar and it is pretty obviously trying to simply induce lust. Now, I don't suggest anybody, and I'm not going to show any photos from this calendar because I don't want to try to add on top of sin. So to me, I would just say, hey, look, this is something we got to stay away from, and this is something that definitely needs to be called out. And while a lot of people would go out there and say, well, what are these women supposed to do, wear burqas? Clearly, that's not where anybody who's a traditional right-winger would suggest for these women to do. But they would suggest, hey, how about a bit of modesty, and how about we simply just go out there and say, don't try to pretend like you're trying to induce lust, or that you're not trying to do that, which is precisely what is being done by these women and this corporation that induced the calendar. Now, give a quick shout out to Dave Green of the Distributist channel. Amazing channel, by the way. Very intelligent man. And he had a comment that I'm still thinking about today because I think it's one of the most interesting and ingenious forms of ideas that have came across the internet. And I truly mean that. Because his critique of it, obviously I would suggest and probably propagate that he does not enjoy the content of that calendar because it is semi-pornographic. But he gave a great reason for why, also, if you're in politics, why you should not want to have this anything to do with this calendar at all. It's simply due to the fact that the calendar, in and of itself, shows women dressed immodestly. And if you want to rule, which, if you're in politics, the main reason why you were in politics is to try to have either somebody who you support rule or have your ideas rule that country. Those are the only two reasons, unless you are literally running in the politics and you would be to run yourself. But even still, any of those three reasons, you want the ruling class to be of yours, of your ideas, of people you support, or of you. And Dave's critique simply was that if you're a ruling class member, you would never want your wife, your daughter, or someone of your class to be dressed this way and to be shown out in public in such a manner. It is painfully obvious to see that these people are just peasants with money. The way a lot of the ruling class in America act are like peasants with money. And though we all have moments in time in which we will fall short of the mark and somebody will catch us off guard, to willingly and purposely go out and induce yourself into a lust-filled position to show a photo of yourself semi-naked is to show yourself of a low-class quality. And look, we've all made mistakes, and it's one thing to be caught, you've had too many drinks, and somebody catches a bad photo of you. It's another thing to be 100% sober and to willingly take these photos for money. That is on a whole nother level that no conservative should be willing to go out there and do. So I think that critique of the idea behind what's wrong with these photos is pretty much top tier. It's the fact that you look low class. And for a lot of people going out there and saying, well, what are these people supposed to do? They're allowed to take these photos of themselves. Well, I suppose, but I still don't think it's a good look for you. And I would honestly say there's nothing conservative about these people, and there's nothing conservative about wanting you to stand out there and dress this way, to act this way, and to try to pretend you put on a cross and to take money from being halfway naked is no way to live. It's no way to act. But on the second half of the video's title, a Lynyrd Skynyrd concert, another less well-known video that sprang around Twitter during this time was a a video of a Lynyrd Skynyrd concert. I want to say it's 1977, but sometime in the 70s. And in the concert, they're in Oakland, California. Now, when Oakland comes to mind, besides a crappy football team that left town, so you shouldn't be too mad about it. All jokes aside of the Raiders, besides the Oakland Raiders team, you think of it probably as a more diverse place with a lot of colorful people. But you look back at Oakland during this time, and they're at the Oakland Coliseum, it was anything but diverse. I don't think there was one brother, one color person even in that whole crowd. And a lot of people on the right wing simply said, oh, see what they took away from us. Look what they did. Look how they did this to us. We used to have it so good. But you really look at the Lynyrd Skynyrd concert, and it's things such as going to concerts and acting degenerate in it that causes you to lose your society, to cause you to be replaced, if I'm going to be 100% honest. Because what happens when you spend most of your time drunk, drugged out of your mind, or just being a degenerate overall? You lose a lot of freedom. Your society tends to collapse the more and more people do that. Now, if you individual actors doing that isn't necessarily going to crush your society, that's going to happen. But en masse, which is what you saw that quickly within 10 years, Oakland went from being a place like that to completely changed overnight. So what am I trying to tell people? I'm trying to tell them that the reason why people got so upset about that conservative, definite emphasis on the conservative calendar is because we're trying to get away from degeneracy. The true right wing is trying to get away from smut. It's trying to get away from, frankly, pornographic images, even semi-pornographic images that induce lust. Its only purpose is to induce lust. Because the same way the boomer generation of that era going to a Lynyrd Skynyrd concert lost everything. And I mean their country, a lot of times their homes, their culture. I mean, they lost everything. The reason why they did is because of the actions that a lot of these people are taking online. And willing to take a stand and say, hey, this stops right here. We don't want society to die is not only not wrong, but is the correct answer. Now, I have nothing against these women who did this. I just wish they would say, hey, I think we did make a mistake, and try to move on from it. I think just admitting, hey, I probably shouldn't have taken the calendar, I shouldn't have taken this money, simply saying that instead of doubling down would have made the situation pass by like it was nothing. So if somebody asks, why are you so serious about a calendar or some moral issue, it's simply look back at that Lynyrd Skynyrd concert and realize that the elites didn't take away Oakland from those people, that those people took Oakland away from those people. That because they wanted to spend a lot of their time going to concerts, getting drunk, getting high, just listening to rock and roll music, is the reason they lost so much. A lot of those people lost their family, lost hope, lost their future. And some people still look back at that time and fantasize and they're nostalgic about it. But to me, there's nothing nostalgic about losing everything. So those are just some thoughts I had about the conservative calendar. I don't suggest anybody keep going after these women. I think it's over and done with. I think the best thing to do now is just to simply ignore it. Just call it out when you can. You see the degeneracy. Be willing to offer forgiveness for people, because at this time and the way society is currently, people need a lot of forgiveness for a lot of dumb stuff we've been doing. So thanks for listening. Leave me your thoughts. Leave a like, leave a comment on the video. Tell me if I'm right, tell me if I'm wrong. And as always, thank you. Bye.